Part 1. The moment she leaves is the moment you wake up. What if I told you that the most powerful message you'll ever send is sent in silence? No words, no texts, no desperate late-night calls, just stillness, because silence. Silence is the sound of power shifting. It's not weakness. It's not giving up. It's the most violent storm disguised as calm. And if she walked away from you, whether with drama, excuses, lies, or worst of all, indifference, you don't need closure, you need control. Scene setting, the collapse, picture this. She left. Maybe she said, "It's not you, it's me." Maybe she just stopped replying. Maybe it was a slow, soul-wrenching fade. Or maybe it shattered your world at 2:17 a.m. When you saw the message, "I just think we need time apart." No explanation. No decency. It's just absence. And now you're staring at the ceiling at night, trying to breathe through the weight in your chest. You scroll through old texts. Her voice echoes in your head. The silence isn't quiet, it's loud, deafening, consuming. But what if I told you this is the moment most men break, and the moment few men rise? 1. Pain is the wake-up call expanded. Rock bottom isn't a destination, it's a decision. It's that moment, the moment after she walks, and you realize you didn't just lose her. You lost yourself in her. You lost the version of you that thought love meant answering every call, sacrificing, your sleep lowering, your standards making excuses for her silence. You gave her access to every part of your soul you loved deeply, vulnerably, without calculation. And now she's gone. And what's left behind isn't just heartbreak. It's clarity dressed as pain. Let's be brutally honest. She wasn't the first girl who made you feel whole. She was the first girl you let break you. Why? Because you made her the center of your emotional universe. You stopped being the man. You became the mirror of her moods. It's a prisoner of her validation. And now that she's gone, you're left with the withdrawal symptoms of dependency disguised as love. Here's the shift. Most men see pain and run. They drown it in rebound, hookup cell, cohol scroll for hours fake. Positivity, look what you're missing Instagram stories, but a Stoic doesn't run. He sits with it. He listens to the pain not as punishment, but as truth, because truth is surgical. It shows you where you went software, you traded dignity for attention where. You bent your standards just to be enough. This is not weakness. This is awakening. The fire burning in your chest right now. It's not asking for her back. It's burning the version of you who thought you needed her to be whole. Let it burn, do not numb it. Do not distract yourself. Do not call her. Let it burn, because that pain, that's the forge. That's where discipline is born. That's where emotional control replaces chaos. Where detachment replaces desperation. Where clarity replaces confusion. You don't heal by pretending it didn't hurt you. Heal by becoming the man who could never be broken the same way. Again, vow of the Stoic no contact isn't a trick. It's not a tactic. It's not about making her chase. It's a vow. I will no longer bleed for people who were never willing to bandage me. I will no longer give my presence to those who abused it. I will not chase what chose to leave. This is not about her. This is about the version of you who's emerging. Not the broken man, not the desperate boy, but the dangerous man. The man who rises from pain. The man who doesn't seek comfort. He seeks clarity. The quiet discipline hears the brutal paradox. She expected you to beg to collapse, to spiral. Your silence is not indifference. Your silence is war. It is the battlefield of your evolution. You don't respond. You don't post cryptic quotes. You don't chase her shadow. You build in silence, in discipline, in detachment, challenge. For you, tonight, when the silence comes creeping back in, when you want to hear her voice just once more, don't break. Write down this phrase, "I needed this." This is where my real story begins. You don't become a high-value man in peace. You become him in the trenches, in the suffering, in the silence. Comment this if you're ready to rise. I master my emotions. They do not master me. Coming in part 2. Detachment isn't indifference. It's power. We're about to go deeper next. You'll discover the true art of emotional control, how the man who detaches without bitterness becomes the one who commands every room he walks into. But here's the twist. She's still watching, in your silence. It's starting to terrify her. Part 2. Detachment isn't indifference, it's power. Estimated approximately 2,500 to 3,000 words, keywords. Detachment versus indifference. Emotional control. Masculine frame, no contact strategy, emotional discipline, stoic detachment, high-value man. How to stay calm after breakup? She expected weakness. Power of silence seen transition. From pain to power, pain woke you up. Now comes the part where most men fall back asleep, because once the sting of loss fades, the old patterns return. You feel a little better, so you crack open her Instagram. You stalk her new posts. Zoom in on her stories. Reread that last text. You whisper to yourself, I just want to know if she's okay. But that's the trap. That's the subtle reattachment that keeps you emotionally enslaved. And here's the stoic truth. The opposite of attachment isn't hatred. It's discipline. 2. Detachment isn't indifference. It's power. People confuse detachment with not caring. They think it means being cold, robotic, heartless. But detachment is none of those things. It's not about shutting. It's about controlling your reactions. It's emotional. Precision, the high-value man, doesn't feel less. He just refuses to let emotions steer the ship. Why detachment equals power? Think of a soldier. He doesn't fight without fear. He fights despite it because he has discipline. Detachment works the same way. It's not the absence of feeling. It's the refusal to let feelings dictate behavior. She expected you to react, beg, chase, bleed. But when you detach, calmly, with no drama, she feels it. Why isn't he texting me? Why is he so quiet? Has he moved on? Your silence becomes signal, and detachment is the amplifier. Most men react, but you respond there. As a moment after no contact begins, where your phone buzzes. It's not her, just a random notification. Still, if your heart skips, your hands itch. You almost reach out. That's when most men collapse. Not because they're weak, but because they are reactive. You are not most men anymore. You don't chase. You don't collapse. You hold your frame, because detachment means this. I control how I show up in the world. No one else does. Emotional chaos versus stoic calm. Let's break it down. Emotionally attached, stoically detached, obsesses over her. Focuses on mission, reacts to her silence, controls his silence, needs validation, self-validate. Shopes, for return, prepares for evolution, chases closure, creates distance when you detach. You flip the power dynamic. She no longer knows where she stands. And that uncertainty, that mystery, it's what draws her in, even if she doesn't show it. Detachment is the mirror. When you're emotionally attached, you mirror her chaos. But when you detach, you become the mirror to her soul. And most people hate what they see, because when you stop reacting, you force her to face the consequences of her actions. No longer distracted by your begging or your pain. She has to look at the emptiness she created. Let her sit with it. Let her wonder, did I make a mistake? Why does he seem even more powerful now? Did I lose a man I never really understood? Detachment is a choice, not a mood. You don't wait for peace to detach. You choose detachment, especially in chaos. Because the most dangerous man is not the loudest. He's the one who can sit in silence while the world tries to provoke him. She'll test your silence. Random texts. Hope you're well, birthday. Wishes a picture of her in your hoodie, a reel shared at 2:00 a.m. Each one is bait. But here's the stoic response. You don't flinch. You don't engage. You remain unreadable. Unreadable equals unstoppable. When a man is unreadable, he becomes dangerous. Not because he hides his feelings, but because his behavior doesn't betray him. You never let her see whether you're hurting, moving, and angry, indifferent. You let your progress be private. You let your silence be felt. Building in silence, this is what detachment really means. Waking up earlier, getting stronger, earning, more learning. Discipline or building your identity, forging your values, all without updating her. No photos, no bragging, no cryptic captions, just silence. Progress without proof. And that's what kills her ego. Because when a man vanishes without drama and returns, upgraded, he's no longer someone she can predict. He's become the storm. Emotional precision is masculine energy. Let's talk about masculinity, true masculinity. It's containment. It's containment. The ability to feel deeply and remain steady. When you're calm in crisis, when you walk away without burning bridges, when you choose silence over self-destruction, that's power. That's what makes you different. Because most men are loud when they hurt. But the Stoic man gets quiet, focused, dangerous. Final word on detachment 2. Don't detach to make her miss you. You detach to find you again. The man before the heartbreak. The man before you gave away your power. Detachment isn't revenge. It's realignment. You're not punishing her. You're prioritizing you. Comment below. My peace is my priority. My emotions serve me, not enslave me.